Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Minding My Mental Health. And I have a special guest in the studio with me today, Miss Santresa Marie. Welcome to the broadcast. Thank you so much. Everyone knows what I want you to do. If you are watching us live, I want you to hashtag live and let us know where you're watching from. And if you are watching this replay, it won't have the red live stamp at the top, but you will know the replay because you're watching it and it won't have live at the top. Go ahead and hashtag replay. And again, let me know where you're watching from. Again, we have the amazing Santresa. Before we begin, I just want to let everybody know what we're doing every Thursday here at Minding My Mental Health. Our goal is to tear down the stigma of getting mental health treatment, tearing down the idea that it means that we are weak if we are having any type of struggle. And we want to show you very healthy, successful people who have also had to overcome some of these struggles in life to continue to live successful lives. And so we have the very amazing Santresa with us. Give it up for her. I've known Santresa for a really long time, like junior high long time. Our schools were rivals. And so we always knew kind of each other. But as we became adults, we went to the same college. And then later on in life, we actually probably connected more. We started going to the same church. And Santresa has such an amazing story. She's an amazing person. So Santresa, welcome to the broadcast.
Ooh.
And tell us just about you. I put on here, I said, you do a lot of stuff. You do a whole lot of stuff. So just tell us who you are, what you do, all that good stuff.
So I am Santresa Marie, and I make the joke, but it's not a joke that I have 3 jobs. I work a regular 9 to 5. I am the admin for our spiritual mom pastor, Sean Strickland.
Woo-hoo!
And yes, and I have my own business, The Beauty Within, and it is centered around allowing girls and women to be able to really see and understand and own their inner beauty, and using makeup as a way to elevate the beauty that rests on the side of them and to own those things unapologetically. I am the mama to a Lord. She is 17. It is her junior year in high school. I keep saying, Lord, I know I said I was ready. I think I was playing. I don't think I'm ready. And she is her own person, and she is amazing. I call her my little millionaire best friend, because she does not believe that there is an amount of anything that she can't and I suppose have access to. And that is a lot of because of the way that I have grown and become as a woman, to be able to raise her with a no limit lifestyle, to knowing that God, his promises are all of them. You can have all of his promises. So yeah, that is me, a little bit no shit.
So Santresa told you all that she has 3 jobs, but the truth is Santresa is a bad girl, okay? Because she does like way more than the things that she just listed. She is, I don't know if technically what you're following has to be considered an influencer on social media, but I know she's moving in that space. She helps with building businesses from the kind of marketing standpoint, as far as helping do flyers and websites, and just Santresa can do a whole lot of things. And so at the end, I'm going to give her a great opportunity to share ways that you can work with her or how you can connect with her. I just want you guys to know that you really are in the presence of a real life boss. And so we appreciate her for joining us. Now, speaking of all of those things, of course, this is Minding My Mental Health. We're going to tie it all together, right?
Right.
How do you manage to keep that face looking flawless, keep that smile, and it be genuine, right? Because a lot of people keep the smile on camera. A lot of people have managed to perfect it, but sometimes we haven't necessarily managed to have that authentic. How are you able to do that authentically and have a sense of calm and balance in your life?
So I had to learn the thing that no is a complete sentence, because I used to do it all for everybody, no matter what, no matter if it was inconvenience, no matter if I didn't have the time, no matter if I was exhausted. It didn't matter. I was always telling people the yes all the time, and I put myself last, and I had to learn how to, one, say no. And that included saying no to myself. That even in the times where I felt like, you can go, you can do some more, to be like, you could, but how about we don't? It'll be there tomorrow, though. We can do it tomorrow. And then also being able to understanding that my health, it matters. And if I'm not
Mhm.
in a good mental space or physical space, then nothing that I do is going to matter if I'm not able to actually enjoy it and actually be able to rest in it. And then this year I implemented time blocking, because like I said, I became Pastor Sean's admin, and that's a whole that like it's a whole nother job, and I had to be able to find a way to be able to balance. And so for me, time blocking has really worked for me, to have certain times of the day that are dedicated to these certain things. And even though sometimes life happens, and having a child, especially a teenager, and events come up and schedules change, even though those things happen, I'm still able to move in the boundaries of my time blocking. And so then at a certain time at night, we're done. I don't know
Can
what
you share more about what that looks like? Like when you say time blocking, for someone who says, I've never heard of that concept, can you break that down a little bit?
So time blocking is, so for instance, from, if you say get up at 6, from 6 to 6:30, that's quiet time with God, just you and him. And then from 6:30 to 7:30, getting myself ready for the day and for my 9 to 5, and having that window of being able to start checking a couple emails in my inbox for other things. And then at 7:30 to start my actual 9 to 5 here, even though I work remotely. And then I'll have the time that I have lunch. And if I choose to do something in that lunch period, I do. Then go back to my 9 to 5. And after that, I have a time set for my health, my health and wellness, to be able to work out. I have time set aside for content. I have time set aside for my Beauty Within business. I have time set aside to work on things for Pastor Sean. And then, of course, during the week, if there's personal development from our inner circle to prayer and refresh, all of those things are part of that, but they have time. I give them specific times. And so like on Saturdays, I have a big time block for clients. I have a time block for doing extensive content, and then the rest of the day belongs to me and the mini. And then on Sunday, I don't work on Sunday. You can't.
So I think what I hear is you had to start prioritizing things and giving them a special spot in your day, so that it happens. It's not if I have time, I will do these things. This is scheduled parts of my day to make sure you're able to do that.
Yes, and it also taught me to stop trying to multitask all the time. Not saying that we never do, but I was living my life on multitask. Well, I can be over here, and then wait, you need me to do this? Let me go over here and do this. But wait, you want me to do this too? And it was just too much, because it was just too much. And so that has helped me stop multitasking so much, to be able to say, this thing over here can wait. It even helped with my 9 to 5. If I get an email in my inbox, okay, unless it says it's on fire, I'll get to it when I'm done with this particular task. Because you can wait, and it teaches people how to treat you so that we don't give them that expectation of, as soon as I send the message, I know that Santresa is going to respond to me. Not anymore anyway.
No, I love that, because I tell people all the time, we really do set the expectation for how people interact with us with the way we teach them, and if every time I say, hey, you jump immediately, I'm expecting you to jump every time I say, hey. And if you say no to me, I have to deal with what I'm going to do with that.
Right.
That's okay. And so not responding immediately, not doing all of these things, making ourselves too readily available, can help us to teach other people around us how we need to be handled,
right,
for lack of a better word. But it also helps us with our mental health, I think, because you're like, I don't have to do that. I don't have time for that. I don't want to do that. Sometimes maybe it's not even time. I have time, and that is not something that is aligned with what I want to do with my day, or it's not aligned with my vision, my values, my goals. I had someone reach out to me once, and they said, can you put this on your wall? I didn't know this person. And typically I like to say yes and help people. And I said, I don't know you personally, so I'm not going to put that on my wall. I'm sure your services are great, but since I can't personally vouch for you,
right,
I'm not going to say.
Right.
And she responded with, I can totally respect that. I appreciate it. Because if I do that, number one, you get a lot of requests that way, because I've had multiple requests, and I used to just go, I'm just going to ignore it. And I'd be like this passive aggressive response. And I learned, no, I can say, I don't do that unless I personally know the person's character. I'm not gonna. I can recommend Santresa for makeup because I know Santresa's work and I know her character. She's not gonna stand you up. She's not
Right.
gonna have you looking crazy. All of those different things are important when we're talking about putting your name, your time, and energy into things. So I
Yeah,
love that you're training other people how to teach you or how to treat you.
absolutely.
Tell me, Santresa, what are some mindsets that you had to overcome? And it could be one major one, or it could have been maybe a lot of little things that you had to overcome to be in this space where you're in this really healthy, happy. Y'all see the glow. It's not just the products; it's the inner thing. What mindsets did you have to overcome to be in this place?
So the one of the biggest things was knowing who I was. I spent a lot of my teenage and my adult years not knowing who I was and not believing that I was worth anything at all. And that
Mm,
was the biggest, because of course, people see that was just a symptom of the root of things. And so I had to really come to see who I really was, who God created me to be, the Santresa that you guys see now. I had to be that, because I spent so much time not believing I was worthy and wanting to feel like I fit somewhere, and pretending and performing and being this for this person and that for this person, all of these things. And I had to walk through that. I had to release that trauma, the trauma
mhm,
of losing my best friend when I was 12, and the trauma
mm,
of being assaulted the following year. And so all of those things, they spiraled. And I was just like, I spent my time, I was like, I'm not worthy. I'm not enough. I don't matter,
mhm,
but I'm going to do whatever anybody else wants me to do, so that they can make me feel like I might be worth something, or that I can say that I have somebody in my life just a little bit. And so that particular mindset, I had to break up with that. I had to do the work. It was uncomfortable. I ain't want to, okay? I was like, Jesus, can somebody else? Can we can we just get a phase over
what
this?
does that even mean when you say I had to do the work? What does that mean?
So I had to come to terms, one, when I was told that I had was wearing like 15 masks, and I was spending my time performing, and I needed to allow God to remove every single mask from me. I sat with God every single day for like
Mm,
at least 8 weeks, and he was talking to me and telling me about, well, this is a mask, and this is why you've been wearing this mask, and so I need that.
mhm.
And then here's a mask, and this is why you've been wearing this mask, and I'm gonna need that one too. And I was just like, I'm not gonna have anything left if you keep taking this stuff, God. And it was rough, and I cried. And then on top of that, because I because of that trauma, I spent my life really self-protected. And so I didn't tell people stuff about me. You can know the superficial
Mhm.
things, but I didn't tell you about stuff I had going on in my life. Not the real stuff, not the serious stuff, like really who I was. You didn't get to know nobody, not even my mama. You didn't get to have those parts of me, because I was unwilling, because I was
Mhm.
just convinced that people were going to run or walk away or whatever. And so God was like, and by the way, while you're doing this work, you're gonna share it and record on a podcast. I'm sorry, what? So now I'm out here telling people that I don't even know all my business. I didn't grow up telling people my business. Nobody knew anything unless I wanted you to know. But he was like, no, you're gonna tell all the people. Every time I take a mask, I want you to tell them about the mask and why you had it, and
Mm,
why I had to take it. So that's what, for me, that's what that looked like, being able
yeah.
to walk in who I actually am and step into this place where I am today.
Can you share what were some of those masks?
So I thought tears were a weakness.
Mm,
I I cried for two reasons. Somebody died, or I was ready to fight, and I was trying to save your life. Them was the reasons. Those are two reasons I cried. There was no in between. Like, one of my cousins, I remember she got married, and I was like her maid of honor or whatever. And she was coming down the aisle, and all the other bridesmaids, and I could, her sister, her cousin, my sister, her friends, my mama, her mama, our grandmother, they were all crying. And I was looking around like, what's wrong with y'all? I thought it was weird that they were crying because she was walking down the aisle in her wedding dress. I was the one, there was something wrong with me. I didn't understand. I'm like, what's wrong with y'all? Why are y'all crying? So that was one of those masks. That tears were not a weakness. One, the whole idea of not having friends, because I lost my first best friend when we were 12. And so I just decided, because everybody is clearly going to leave,
mm.
no more friends. I don't
So
need to
you
be around friends.
rejected rejection.
Yeah, I rejected. Yeah, no more friends. No friends. You can be my classmate. You can be an associate. You can be a cousin. You can be all these things, but you can't be my friend. Not that word. And I had to, that was another mask that I had to learn to take off. And um, the idea of me showing any femininity, that was one of those masks because after those particular traumas, I threw myself into being a tomboy. So I hid in men's clothes and I was not interested. And, you know, people look at me now, they're like, no, I know full well. Because I still do. But it's from a healthy place now. That tomboy side of me is from a healthy place. It's because it's healthy. It's not I'm trying to hide anything. It's just what I want to do. But I was not interested in showing any femininity because you can take something from me if I show you that I'm soft in any type of way. And so those, yeah.
You know, I gotta say, so I told you guys at the beginning, I remember Santresa from high school. We played basketball against each other. I can remember because we would connect with the other girls on your team, and you always had this like, and we were like, we just not friends on court. But she was always like, I'm not y'all friend nowhere. I can remember. I can remember that your other teammates, it was like, what's up? We were all like real. Now we didn't like hang out on the weekends, or at least I didn't. But there was always this, yes, we compete, but we also like each other. And I remember this wall of I don't know y'all. And I just assumed you at least got along with your teammate because I knew you weren't fooling with us.
No, I was fooling with nobody. Like I was like, we can kiki over general stuff, but that's all I got for y'all is this superficial. That's all I'm offering any of you.
And the fact that I get to see you in our inner circle, like embracing like all these different people, call me if you need me, you know, and I'm like, oh, y'all don't understand. Cause I remember Tree, as they would say, I remember saying Teresa, and she was not dealing with anybody. And so I've seen that growth and that development. Even you're telling me sometimes you would say, come on over to the south side. I've come over now. Right. But you know, it really is. I think that's the beauty of life. We go through, and who we are at one point doesn't have to be the end to our story in any area. Who we are, if that's broken physically, financially, whatever, that doesn't have to be the end of that story. And so I just love both of us as I watch us continue to grow and become different and better and keep moving, you know, to healthier places each and every day. Tell me, Santresa, what you actually talked about it a little bit, being really low self-esteem, those types of things. I know you wrote a book and you shared kind of your journey with some of those feelings of not having the worth, depression. Tell me how you got out of that. Well, what were some of those struggles, and then how you got out of those struggles?
So some of the struggles were, and you know, if you grew up like we grew up in the 80s and the 90s, therapy was not that, it was not a normalized thing. And especially if you grew up in the country. So let's just take it a step further. And you grew up and you were Baptist. Like me and Nisha had the trifecta, okay? We were living in the trifecta of the life of what you're not gonna do with therapy. What is that? You better just, life happens, get up and get over it. And so, you know, one of the things was, one, I lost, you know, my best friend, and, you know, my mother had, you know, we've talked about it. And she was like, you know, she did the best that she knew. Mm-hmm. She didn't know or even think about the fact that that was such a traumatic thing for me, and that I may have needed to talk about it and get help from it. But as I've grown and become, she can look back and say, you did change. A flip did switch in you in that moment. And so from that, that's the moment I became withdrawn, because before then, my mom would go to parent teacher conference and they were like, we love Santresa. She's so wonderful and she's so smart. She likes to talk a lot. She likes to talk a lot. But in that moment, that summer, that ended. That was never a conversation that my teachers had with my parents anymore, because I didn't talk anymore. You didn't have to worry about me talking about it in class. And so then the following summer, I was sexually assaulted. And that's how my virginity, that's where that, you know, and so then that added to the trauma. And so I was like, I can't be worth anything. And so I became extremely withdrawn. And like I said, I began, masking myself in boys' clothes and making sure things were on my terms. And my dad, he still works at the hospital, but he would come home with those boxes, those hospital boxes of Tylenol that you could have and he could get at a discounted price, and he would put them in the bathroom. And they could not figure out why they were going through Tylenol so much, because they never knew. I would wait till everybody went to sleep and I would pop just enough Tylenol so I could just go to sleep, because I had spent the day pretending and being the star athlete and being the straight A student and being the officer of this club and that club and being the teacher's favorite. And I spent all that day being exhausted because I could not let you see what the pain that I was actually in. And so at night, that was my release. That was my way of getting some peace, so I could just go to sleep and make it all go away. And then I would get up every morning and I would start all over again and doing that all over again. And that's where all of that began. And so I was depressed before we knew. When I look back, when you knew that was a thing,
right?
I was living with depression. And it wasn't until, well, my freshman year of college, I had decided I was done. We're done with life. I don't want to do this. I'm away from my mama. I don't want to be here no way. Let's just not be here at all. And in 2 instances, I tried to OD. I tried to take my life twice. And each time somebody knocked on my door, they wouldn't stop knocking until I opened the door. That is because, and people say, if you don't believe in God, because he sent whoever that was to knock on my door 2 different times until I opened the door, because they knew I was in there. But I was making the decision that I was not going to be here anymore. And it wasn't until after I left my ex-husband and I was divorced and I was by myself for the very first time with my daughter, and I was sitting in the middle of the living room and I was worshiping, and I'll never forget the song. It was Fred Hammond. And I, like, in that moment, I felt God deliver me from depression through that worship. And in that moment, he began to talk to me and say, I need you to learn how to love you first. Yeah. You won't know how anybody should love you until you are able to love you first. And so that's where my book was birthed, of that journey of all of those things, and how I began to actually learn to love myself the way that God said that he loved me. And then on top of that, people were like, oh, that's good. You're healed. No, there was still more work, because even though I had learned to love myself, I still didn't think I was worthy. So you can say you love yourself, but not understand that you still have to believe you're worthy of love from other people. And then if you still don't know who you are, then that's still a process. And so then, I gave myself back to God. And then in 2013, before 2013, Pastor Sean came to Camden and she preached twice. And I was like, I knew of her. I said, I don't really know who this woman is, but let me tell you something. And so I reached out and I was like, I need you to coach me. And the first session we were talking, and I mentioned that 12-year-old. And the whole session stopped from, she was going to help me build, grow my business and what I was supposed to be. And she's like, no. This 12-year-old, we got to deal with her. We got to release her. She got to go. And that was the process of beginning to discover who I was and letting go of things. And then in 2018, when she went through the process first of God peeling away things, then she turned around and was like, and by the way, y'all next, hey, wait, he signed you up. Where we going? And so then those layers began to be peeled away from me. And now here I am on the other side of freedom. And I am beyond grateful every single day to be this woman, the one that I was created to be, the one that my teachers in elementary said, she's such a nice girl, but she likes to talk a lot. She's back. She's back. She's back.
Now, I want to say something. You brought up something I think a lot of parents overlook. You said I was a star athlete and I had good grades. And even though people knew you had experienced, I don't know if they knew about the sexual trauma. Did anyone know about that?
Outside of my parents, nobody else knew.
Okay. So your parents knew about that trauma. They knew you had lost your best friend, but they still thought, but she's doing well. And I think that's one of the things that I struggle with helping people to understand. Just because your children are performing well, when they've experienced great loss or they've experienced something traumatic, it is a very good thing to get them help. I reach out to family members or people all the time and I'll say, get that baby in some counseling. She just experienced this, or they experienced this, and they go, they're doing fine. I'm telling you, I want you to get that baby into some counseling, because what happens when the kids go, okay, my mama feels uncomfortable when I'm showing this behavior, so I'm not going to show that behavior. I'm going to be the good kid. I'm not going to cause any trouble. I'm not going to do this. And they perform, but internally there is a lot going on. And so I'm so glad you brought up the fact that you didn't crumble outwardly.
Right.
You kept it together. And I think so many, and not just for kids, I say that because you were younger, but even adults, when we've experienced something traumatic, heck, sometimes life itself can just be a series of things that feel traumatic. When we've done that, stop and say, it's okay for me to stop and get some help, because I don't have to go around, to your point, wearing those masks that I'm okay, wearing those guards to protect myself. I really can do the work. Even children can do the work, and that's not always fun work. But because I've worked with children, I know they can do the work, and they come out and they start getting realizations of, I'm really upset by this, or that really affected me. And you could challenge those unhealthy ways of thinking that develop as a result. So I'm so glad you brought up that point, that you were still, quote unquote, thriving outwardly.
Yeah.
Internally, there was a lot going on. So I encourage you, if you know of somebody who has experienced a lot of trauma and it seems like, oh man, they bounced back so quickly, doesn't mean that they didn't, but it may still mean that there is still a lot of stuff underneath the surface that needs to be processed. So
absolutely.
Yeah. How do you now stay in a healthy place? You say, I've done the work. I got to a good place. I took off my mask. What do you do to stay in that healthy place?
So first of all, if y'all ain't figured out by now, I love the Lord. And so I stay in relationship and fellowship with him. Mm-hmm. Number one. Two, I know that even when I'm feeling emotions, I allow myself to feel them. I give myself a set time frame to feel them, but I allow myself to feel it. And then I ask, why am I feeling this way?
Yeah.
What is this? Where did this come from? Because I'm not giving anything else the chance to fester and sit and to grow. And so I'm asking myself, where is this coming from? God, what is this? Where did this come from? You know, there was a moment, like one day I was a mess. And I was crying. I was like, what is wrong with you? Nothing had happened that day. I was like, what is wrong with you? And it was simply because it was a moment I was realizing it was like a moment that was connected to my daughter. And it was a realization of how she's growing up and she's doing so well and she's preparing to leave. And none of it, nothing that happened made no mistakes that I've made along the way. They didn't make me bad. Like I was talking to myself, you are a good mother. And you know, people are like, why would you tell yourself if you are? Because I wasn't giving the enemy any opportunity to open a door to try to tell me anything that I was not a good mother. I am a good mother. And she is amazing, is because God has trusted me and I have raised her like God wanted me to. And she is going to be fine and she's going to thrive when she leaves me and goes to college. And if I need to, I can get on a plane to go see her. Like all of those things I act. So that self-talk that works. Yes. And then in the next moment, I text people. I was like, so I had a moment. I'd have been over here crying because I didn't know why. And then the Lord told me why. And this is what it was. And it was simply so that they knew. And I have people in my life so they know, okay, we having a moment. Are you okay? For real, okay, not so how are we okay? What came from that? And so that is a thing when you have relationship, which the people that say I made a post yesterday, no new friends and I don't need nobody, lies. No, we need the people. We need the people. Covenant friendships and covenant relationships. You need that because those are those people. Even what it may seem small, they're like, okay, we need to walk through some more stuff. We okay? So yeah.
So I love that that you brought up that powerful point of the power of friendship, the power of accountability. Because you said I called them because you had every right as a quote unquote grown up to say, okay, I had my moment, I worked through it, I'm good. But you didn't just stay there. And I think that's a nugget that people have to understand. Even if I've kind of worked through and processed through some things, I still may need to call somebody to say, I worked through it, or at least I think I did. But I need you to know what happened so that you can be aware of what's going on in my life. Because when you allow people in your life, they can see areas that maybe you can't see. And that's really powerful, especially just trying to live the best we can, it's like, oh, I didn't realize I was doing that, because
Right.
it's so natural to us to do certain things, and so other people can point out, do you realize you do this all the time? Do you so I'm loving all of these nuggets, and I hope people are getting, all of these things that you're dropping. Like, she didn't just stay withdrawn in that moment. She allowed herself to feel it, but she also explored. So what is your current definition of success? How do you define, um, like we've talked, this feels different, but is that your definition of success?
For me now today, success is every day doing whatever it is that God has asked of me to do. Even the things that don't make sense, even the things
Mm-hmm.
that seem what other people would say is unnecessary. For me now, that is success. It used to be, a certain position or a certain amount of money. It used to be all of those things. And not saying that those aren't indicators of success, but for me in this part of my life, my true success is every day. God, what do you want me to do? And I do those things. And now we have had a successful day, and it's been a successful week, and it's been a successful month. And even the things that make me uncomfortable, and I'm like, I don't want to, because like I was having a conversation with one of my friends yesterday, and we were talking, and I was like, I'm excited about such and such. And she was like, share it. But I did, because it was a thing for me with the people that I trust. When y'all require something of me, I know you have my best interest in heart. So I'm like, even though I'm like, do we really gotta? I'm gonna do it, because I'm gonna have my moment of, I don't do it. I don't. And so those are the moments, really giving up myself for God. Like when you had that one, that you're minding my mental health, and you were talking, and y'all were talking about divorce, and you were talking about how you really had to release your ex so he could be happy for real, and all of this. And listen, y'all have walked with me through this journey, so y'all know, I had released him, I had to forgive the man. I left him in Vegas when we went to Vegas. Like, oh, I had done all this stuff. And while y'all were talking, Holy Spirit was like, so text him and thank him for being a good father. I'm sorry, what? Because I had never told him that, ever. She is 17, and I had never told him, thank you for being a good father. That even though it didn't work out the way that we probably intended for it to, thank you for being a good father to her. And then I told him, and I said, and I pray that you and your wife have a blessed marriage. I was like, this is the Lord. I just want everybody to know.
This is not me.
This is this is Jesus. And he responded in like. And I'm just like, and so that is success to me, because we're not ever going to lose, even in those moments of it completely being uncomfortable. And we're like, is this you, Lord? Is this you? Are you sure? Is this you? Even in those moments, you look back at those things and be like, yeah, that was him. And if I hadn't done the thing that he said, I don't know what I could have delayed.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I'm gonna get in your business, as if I haven't already been in your business, right? I know, because we are friends, that you are single, right?
Yes.
And I also see a lot of people, and I'm gonna say our age without telling our age, because we still fine or whatever. I see a lot of people who are single over 35 that have gotten really discouraged in their singleness, feeling like it's too late, it's too whatever. How does that part, how do you guard against going to a place of discouragement in this time?
So I will say that there was a time
Or desperation. Let me throw that out there too, because we have it's either very discouraged or very desperate, or sometimes both.
So there was a time, and I knew that was a time that there was no reason for me to be in an actual relationship, because I had just decided there was pee in the pool. I was like, this is ghetto. I don't, I don't even want to play. I want to, I was like, I want to be inside, but I don't want to play. I don't want to play. And so, but I've gotten to a place where, number one, that, I know God's heart for me, and I know he knows my heart for him. And it is to be married and and build that thing in the kingdom for him. But I've just gotten to a place of so much peace. Number one. Number two, I hang around happy, healthy, married couples. Full stop. I don't hang around people that don't have healthy, happy healthy, because y'all keep these words: healthy, happy marriages. I don't hang around people that don't have that. I don't take advice from people that don't have that. I don't sit on social media and watch people that don't have that. I'm like, nope, that is a lie. Anytime someone is talking about there aren't any good men, that's a lie. I'm surrounded by them every single day.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lie. God didn't stop making them after they got married.
Yeah.
That is a lie. And so people think you're doing too much. You have what you behold. And
Yeah,
if
that's
all
good.
you are focusing on are your bad experience, the bad dating experiences, the other people's bad dating experiences, and all the
Mm-hmm.
bad this, and well, men ain't this, and women do this, and women, and all, if that's all you focus on, you can't be surprised
Yeah.
that is all that you are surrounded by, that is all you are presented by. That is not to say that I have not encountered men that I'm like, what? I have encountered men that have been like, I am being punked. Where's Ashton? Because this is a joke. This can't be real. But at the same time, it is not my expectation. I
Mm-hmm.
expect to receive the best. And that means being willing you have to go outside, you have to talk to a man. And it doesn't mean that man is going to be the one.
Right.
But one, you can't enforce your expectations, your standard, if you don't ever go outside. You can say you have a standard, you can say you have expectations. If you don't ever interact and allow a man to date you and interact with you, you don't really know. Do you really have a standards? Do you really? Because you have no idea, because you ain't outside. And so that you got to go outside, and you have to participate in the activity of getting to know someone, to know that, okay, this is a standard. Are you meeting this standard, sir? You're not? Oh, well, this has been fun. You got to go. And even if in those moments when you encounter someone that is actually decent and good, it doesn't mean they're decent and good for you.
For you,
And
right.
that is also okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because what's a deal breaker for you is not a deal breaker for somebody else, but it doesn't make that person a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't take that moment and be like, see, I told you, ain't no good out here. I'll just be by
Right,
myself.
right.
Lies, I'm not going to be by myself. And so, no, because I had already told Nitra when she got engaged, and I went and touched the hem of her left finger. I got next, dog.
Not the left finger.
The left finger. I said, I got next.
So I want to recap what I think I just heard. Number one, you don't focus on what's not out there, or what the negativity in the talk. And we all know what that means. The talk of there are no good men. You don't focus on that. The other thing was, I look at and I see healthy relationships. So I know it's possible. I know what to expect. It just keeps you in that positive mindset. The other thing you said was, I'm not afraid to walk away if someone's not my person. And I think that's a huge thing that I see when we're talking about mental health. When a relationship doesn't manifest into marriage or whatever that person was wanting, they go, oh gosh, that didn't work. So now it's all bad, as opposed to saying, well, that one didn't work. Okay, but that doesn't mean I have to stay with something that I know doesn't work. And it also doesn't mean that my person's not out there. And so did I miss anything?
You did not. And also,
trying to protect your mindset in that space.
And then also the fact that one, when the Lord tells you no, it's no. It's not a maybe. It's no. And there are sometimes God be like, yeah, you get to choose. And sometimes they're just again, sometimes they're just experiences, so you can know, yes, there are good men here. He wasn't yours, but there are good men here. So keep going, boo. Because now you know that they do exist.
They exist, right.
And you can keep going because yours is still out there. And so those things, they're really big, and it helps you have a different outlook and attitude when it comes to dating. And then you can actually go and enjoy getting to know someone genuinely.
So what do you say to the person who says, God keeps telling me no? Every time I present somebody, he keeps saying no. What do you say to that person?
Why does God keep telling you? Have you ever asked God, why you keep telling me no?
They say, yep. And all I know is he keeps saying no.
Right. He keeps telling you no, because sometimes he needs you, just you and him. Sometimes he doesn't want you to have a them. Because sometimes he needs you to be just you and him. I know that the reason that for so long God was telling me no one before I knew who I was, girl,
Mm,
you because I'm not about to let a man harm you, even if it's unintentional, because you don't know who you are.
yeah. So I think what I just heard was sometimes those no's are often protection and setting you up for something, for your own growth and your
Yes.
own, betterment. So, okay. All right. Thank you very much, ma'am. I know somebody needed that. I know they did. I know they did.
Yes.
So I guess my next question is, what would you consider as like your greatest victory or your um biggest success, as far as like, this thing, I've done this thing, and that's what I'm proud of.
So my biggest success is the beauty within, because I've always, even when I was little, I have always loved being able to, in whatever way it was, pour into girls and teenagers and other people, women my age. Like that's always been a thing. And so the beauty within that thing, because it's like, this is my space. And people think that, oh, you're just a makeup artist, it's just makeup. No, it's so much more, because I have the opportunity to
Mm,
be able to pour into other women, into little girls, and we can have fun in makeup. Then I can remind them that who you are is absolutely enough. Whether you ever decide you want to ever put on any eyeshadow, any lipstick, who you are without it right now, before we start, it is enough. And don't you ever let anybody tell you any different. And
mhm,
so being able to have that space and being able to watch girls and women and to walk in that, and that joy and that excitement, like, I love it. There are little girls, they call me the makeup lady. I love it so much, because when I started and really walked in as a makeup artist, I started because I wanted the mamas. I was wanted the adults. And I did those looks, and mamas were inboxing me and texting me and showing me pictures. And like, she saw your video and this is what she did and she loved it. And
mm.
I was like, what is happening, Jesus? What is
Light
happening?
bulb.
And that is where Minis in Makeup was born. And just a plug, it's on its way back, just so we clear. And it's gonna be a whole university, because these babies gonna graduate and matriculate through the fun of makeup
Oh
out
my
here in
gosh.
these streets. Yes, my Brielle, like my Brielle.
Because listen, my baby loves Miss Santresa #1, and she loves this makeup. And she would come, Mama, look.
and, and
Yes,
and I love it
we're
because
ready. We're gonna sign up.
I'm excited, and it's breaking the stigma of those things that people have attached to makeup. That
Hmm.
one, there are people that use it to cover up who they are, to feel like they're only beautiful when they have makeup on, or the fact that you're trying to be grown or fast or whatever
Hmm.
with makeup. Makeup is art, and it is a ministry. And that is the thing that I just, every day, every time I get to do it, I get so excited. Every time I put on makeup, this is a content moment. I'm about to make a
Hmm.
content. Like, I did a whole story time today, because this is content. And this is great. And so it's just those moments. It helps me connect with women on a different
Hmm.
level. And they hear these stories and things in a different way, because they think they're just watching me put on makeup, but I'm actually encouraging them. I'm actually motivating them. I'm actually holding them accountable, so they can grow and become and embrace all that they really are. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So, what would you say to someone who says, "I'm still in that space that you were in college when you wanted to give up? I'm still maybe in that space of not knowing who I am, or heck, maybe just the isolated space that you were in when you were, 12, 13 in that time." What do you say to someone who says, "I'm still struggling with suicidal thoughts, with depression, anxiety"? Um, any advice for them?
One, get help. Getting help is not a sign of weakness.
Mhm.
Getting help is not a moment of failure. It's none of those things. You don't have to be ashamed. Get help. Whatever, counselor, therapist, what, get help. Reach out to someone, because you are not in this thing alone. I know you feel like you are here alone, you are on this island. You are not. There is someone, and And for all you know, they could be a complete stranger. There is someone there that is out there waiting and right there wanting to help you and help you walk through this thing, because there is life on the other side. This is just a semicolon. It is not the period in your life. And don't ever put a period where God was like, this is a semicolon. This is it. This is, you feel stuck. This is the moment. It is not your life. It is not the definition of your life. And you can get to a place where that was a thing that happened. It is not who you are. It is something that happened in your life. But I can't express it enough that I know that it was because I got to a place where I was like, I need help. And yes, it was miraculous deliverance from depression, but that was just the start. And I had to begin to share myself with other people and reach out for that help to be able to walk on this side of where I am. And even in the moments as you are going through this process, when it's uncomfortable, that is a sign to keep going.
Yeah.
It is not a sign to, oh, okay, I don't want to do it. No, when the moment it feels uncomfortable, that is your sign. This is working. I have to keep going because you matter. And I don't say you matter because your family needs you. If you have kids, they need you. Not all the people, because you need you and you matter.
So I love the fact that you brought out the miraculous deliverance piece, because I think, obviously, and most people know this, I'm a Christian. I'm also a counselor. I see people who are not Christians. I see people who are Christians. And I believe in deliverance. So let's just put that out there, right? However, there is that piece, I think, within the church that fully relies on, you just need prayer. You just need the deliverance piece, which, again, I'm on the deliverance team. I believe in deliverance, right? However, I think many times after the deliverance, there is still a lot of work to be done. And I love that you said, yes, that depression, that came from some supernatural breakthrough, but I had to walk out the rest of that process. And you walked that out with a coach, and you said, let me get somebody who knows something or who is able to help me walk through this process. And that's really where I want people to understand. Yes, we pray. Yes, we believe in deliverance. Yes, we believe in all of those things, but there are still some mindsets that have to shift for us to be able to really walk, I guess, according to who we were created to be. There are still some things that we may have to release, and it doesn't always happen at one time. And I think that's the thing. And it didn't make you crazy. It didn't mean that something was wrong with you. You were weak. You're like, no, I wasn't weak. I just recognized that this is where I am, and I'm going to have to do something differently in order to get things and go to another level. And so, again, I just appreciate the fact that you recognize, yes, there was some deliverance, but there was also some steps that I had to physically take to get out of that space. I've met people who said they were drinking. My grandmother used to drink on my dad's side, and she was pretty bossy. And she decided, they were all drinking one night, and she said, now tomorrow we're not doing this, we're going to church. And her crew was like, okay. And it's like this shift. She was like, okay, this is it. We're done with all this blah, blah, blah. Right. So there was a switch. There was something that happened to her and her crew. Like, okay, guys, tomorrow we're going to church. We're not going to keep living like this. We're going to church. We're going to give our life to Christ. But there was some walking out of some processes that still had to take place of, again, being able to say, yeah, we're not drinking, but my mindset still has to shift. My mindset has to shift in those things. And so I love that, that you're still, obviously we're in the same community. So I know you're still walking through those mindset shifts. And every Monday we meet, and there is always this, but I thought I was good.
Right.
But I thought I was fine. And then there's this other level. And here's the thing, you don't want to get people to feeling like I'm never good enough, because that's not what it's about. When we say I thought I was fine and I found another layer, it's not that you're never good enough. It's just that you recognize that I can always step it up, and there is still another layer of freedom for me. Right. And I think that's really the beauty. It's not like another problem. it's another layer of freedom that is available. And I love that. I love you. Any parting words? I want you to tell people what you've got going. First, your parting words for people who may be um, listening, and something you just want to wrap up with. And then I want you to share what you've got going on in all of your different endeavors right now.
First, I want to say that whoever, because I believe that someone needs to hear it, that you are enough. You are worthy. It is safe for you to be loved and to be loved well.
Mm-hmm.
And you do not have to accept anything less than what God said just to say you have someone in your life. And that means platonic, romantic, familial. It does not matter who they are. You do not have to accept the less to be able to say, well, I'm loved, because God's love is perfect. People aren't.
Mm-hmm.
But being mistreated and all of those things, that's not an indicator of loving. You don't have to accept that just to say that, well, at least they love me, because it's safe to be loved well. We deserve
Right.
we are called to be loved and to be loved well. But it always starts with you. Because if
Mm-hmm.
you don't understand the way that God loves you, and if you don't understand how to love yourself, then you don't have a proper um, reflection or blueprint for what it kind of love it is you will turn around and accept and receive in your life. And so that's the parting words I want to leave with people. What do I have going on? Well, woo child. Well, well, first and foremost, you have figured out by now, I am a professional makeup artist, and I just wrapped up. It was called the Beauty Within Challenge. It was a free 7-day challenge for women to just be able to enjoy and learn different aspects of makeup and break up with some things when it came to makeup and beauty and inner beauty as well. And as a result of that, I am preparing to launch my makeup detox masterclass,
Ooh.
because I've discovered that, one, there are women holding on to makeup that does not speak to them, that does not
Mm.
is not a reflection of who they really are. They were holding on to makeup that's expired because they were like, makeup expires. It's a thing. Um, you know, um, and so all of those things, and so it's going to be a great masterclass that I'm excited to release to the public, along with a little essentials and organization to help you make sure you have your at least the essentials you need for an everyday look, and how to help you organize your vanity. And then also, I am getting ready to prepare to release Minis and Makeup University. So if you've been here for a while, I started with Minis and Makeup, and we would have class every once, we'll start off with once a month, and then every once in a while for, me and the Minis to get together and create all these fun looks and have fun and do those things. Well, we are turning it into a whole university, because there's a little girl that I follow. She's 5, and she is the world's youngest makeup artist, and she is amazing. And I believe that even if the littles that I connect with, even if they're not trying to be a makeup artist, to be able to have that fun with makeup, to know that it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's not to age you, to make you try to be older than you are. It's art, and it's fun, because it's not little known secret. I can't draw on paper. I don't. I can't draw on paper, but I can draw on my face. And
And you're really good too. Like, and I want to say, because the looks that Santresa does, yes, I mean, obviously, look at her face. She knows how to do quote unquote regular makeup,
right,
but she also creates pictures on her face, and that's what I think drew Brielle to the love. Brielle was like, it's not, she doesn't care so much about, let me get eyeliner and da da da. She wants, Mom, I want a rainbow on this side and a clown on this side, and a a chipmunk at the bottom. I'm like, oh, okay, this part of my face is a sky, and this is the ground and a
yes,
lake, and I'm like, oh, okay. But you made it fun for her, where it wasn't about becoming a teenager or having, it
right.
was just about, oh, I like this because it is fun and it's creative. So
And so yeah, so I'm gonna teach them how to make art on their face with makeup. and watch them be able to grow and become and love that and express themselves in that way. Because we live in the land of social media. And unfortunately, social media is teaching or trying to teach our littles how to express themselves in unhealthy and potentially
Mhm.
dangerous and self-harming ways. And so I want them to have a place where they can express themselves in a healthy way. And so that may mean, mamas, that if they come with a gray cloud on their face, it's an opportunity to have a conversation with them. Why is the cloud gray today? What is that about?
Mhm.
Because sometimes their brains are still developing and they don't always have all the words. And
Mhm.
so I want that to be a healthy way for them to express themselves that opens the door for conversation with their parents, with their guardians, to be like, well, what's this about? Tell me about this. Tell me what inspired this today. And then those things open doors and you're like,
Absolutely.
wait, I think my baby might need help in this. I need to
Mhm.
connect them with someone and to help them actually walk through that and have a conversation in their own way, in a way that they are able to,
Mhm.
versus, they look sad and you ask them, are you okay? I'm fine. We love that I'm fine. But you can't deny, you ask that, that probing question. Well, tell me about this on your face today. What made you decide you wanted to draw this? What's that about? And kids, because most kids, they are so honest, they're going to tell you what this is
Mhm.
about. And, but it also is going to help develop and help you tap into that, whatever that creative part, whatever that is about them that they love and may want to be.
Mhm.
I want those moments that they have with me to be able to foster that in a healthy, fun way. And that's what makeup minis and makeup university is going to be all about for our littles.
Well, exciting. You guys go follow her. How can they find you on social media?
So on TikTok and on Facebook, I am Santresa Marie. I also have my professional makeup page on Facebook, and it's Santresa Marie Beauty, and that's also IG is Santresa Marie Beauty. And on YouTube, I'm going to start back doing YouTube. It is I am Santresa Marie. So pretty much, if you put Santresa Marie somewhere on one of those social media sites, you're going to find me in one of those places because my name is connected to all of those spaces. So that is a way that you can connect with me in on any one of those social media apps. My bio, it gives you all the things. You click on the link in my bio, it's going to give you all the things, even things I ain't talk about today. Because like Nitra said, she does so much more than what she just shared with you.
A
But
lot.
it's gonna give you all the stuff. You'd be like, really? Yes.
So
Really.
y'all go follow Santresa Marie. Do all of those things. She's an amazing person to know. Obviously, I want to say thank you for giving of your time. Thank you for sharing your journey. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and your transparency. A lot of people don't always want to share that authentic side, and so I appreciate you. I love you.
I
Everybody, give
love
it up
you.
for Santresa. Put hearts, fire. Share this broadcast if it has helped you. Tag somebody you know that has struggled with suicidal thoughts, depression, feeling unworthy, all of those things, because we want to make sure that every day we are tearing down the stigma of treating ourselves well. We are aligning our lives to be light in this world. And so I appreciate you so much. Thank you for helping us to mind our mental health. And we will see you guys back next week, Thursday at 12 o'clock Central Standard Time. Love you
Yes.
guys. Bye bye.
Bye.